Hello friends, welcome to the course Exploratory Data Analysis for Data Science with R Software. So you can recall that in the last couple of lectures we have discussed a lot about the use of R software, and we have discussed various commands in the R software which are going to be useful in the further lectures. Now we come to the next aspect. You see, whenever you are trying to do the data analysis, usually the data is collected by somebody else, and that data comes to you in some files. These files can be in different format. They can be TXT file, they can be comma separated value file, they can be Excel file or a spreadsheet, and there are some other formats also. So the first job as a statistician for data analysis we have to do is to read the data. And since we are going to use here the R software, so it is more important for us that the data which we want to read has to be imported inside the R software, because R has its own provisions, R has its own language. So it would try to reconvert the data into the format which R can understand. So these are the different aspects for the preparation of data for further analysis. So in this lecture and in the next lecture, I will try to demonstrate some of the basic commands which are required for importing different types of data, which are in different types of files, CSV, TXT, Excel, etc. Well, there are many operations which can be done, but my simple objective here is that I would try to concentrate basically on those file formats which are commonly used, which we are going to use, and secondly those type of operation which we are going to operate on this file when we are trying to understand the statistical functions. So with this objective, let us try to consider the CSV and TXT file in this lecture. So my objective here is that I want to explain you how you can read the TXT and comma separated value files in the R software. And beside those things, there is one more aspect, that R has the capability to read the data from some remote location also, which is like some web page. If the data is uploaded on the web page, then also it can read. So what I have done for the illustration, that I have created a small file and I have uploaded it on my home page. The address is given over there. So from there I will try to show you this aspect also. So with this objective, let us begin this lecture and try to understand how to read the data from different types of file and how to bring them in the R software, and then how to do some simple operation on it. So let us begin our lecture. So in this lecture, we are going to begin with the basic functions that what you have to do when you get the data. The first option is that you have to create a place in your computer where you need to store all the data. So for that we can create a directory, and in which we can store all the data. So just for the sake of illustration and understanding, what I have done, I have created a directory whose name is EDADS, Exploratory Data Analysis for Data Science. This is the meaning of this directory, and I have stored it on C drive. I have taken C drive because every computer has actually a C drive. So the first objective is how to set the working directory. So the working directory is set by the command setwd. SET means set, W means working, D means directory, and then within double quotes, within parentheses, you have to give the location of the data set or the directory. For example, I have copied a directory EDADS on the C drive. So I am writing here the command setwd within double quotes, inside the parenthesis C:\EDADS. That is the first aspect. After that, if you want to know what is the working directory in which you are working at present, so the command here is getwd. get working directory. So if you use this command get wd and just use the parenthesis, you will get the location of this directory. I will try to show you it on the R console also. So, but now the issue is this, what type of files are needed and why do you need to store them on your computer inside for reading in the R software. So we know that in statistics usually the data for which we have to conduct the analysis is collected by someone else, and they will transport the data to us in a file, and this file can be of a different format. Every software has a particular structure by which they try to create the file, and similarly our software also has a structure in which it would try to create the file. But here the question is this: we want to import the data file which was created in some other software to the R software. So there are some popular different formats which can be read in R, like as comma separated values, CSV data file, table file .txt format, spreadsheet, like those files which are created in the software like Microsoft Excel and other similar software, HTML table file from other software like SPSS, Minitab, etc. So here I will, and then there is one more structure which is data frame. So here I would be concentrating only on some of the files like a CSV file, TXT, MS Excel, data frame, because these are the commonly used, and other things are available in the R software. You can find them through the help, and many times you will have to use a package to import the files. Right. Now, before I move to any of these files, let me try to illustrate it here that R has a capability to read the file locally from your computer as well as from some website also. Right. So what I have done, I have uploaded a small data file whose name is municdata.asc on my home page. This is my home page, home.itk.ac.in/tilde/SHALAB, and inside that I have created a folder R course, and then I have copied this file over here. So now I would like to first just show you that how you can do it, and I want to illustrate mainly that it is possible. Right. So the basic command, etc., that I will be giving you details later on. So you see, this is a tabular data file. So I use the command here read.table. Now after this I have to give here file. This is the name of the file along with the address. So I try to use here double quotes, and then I try to give here the address where this file is located. And then I try to write down here header is equal to true, because this data has a header. So now if you try to read it, then it will come to your computer. So let me try to show you these things on the R console. So first, if you try to see, if I try to show you here, this file is located here. You can see here, this is the address. You can see here, and this is the file. Now what I do here, I copy this command here, and I try to read it from the R console actually. So you see here, I have copied and pasted this command, and you can see here, this is the name of the file by which I have stored it, data Munich. Right. So you can see here, this is the data file which has come here. This is a long file. So you can see here, it has come here like this. And you can compare actually this data is the same data which is uploaded here actually. If you try to see here, right, this is the same data set what is stored here, NM, NMQM, etc., etc. So you can see here it is possible to read the data from here also. All right. And now I can show you that on my C directory here, I have created here a file I have created here a folder actually EDADS, in which I have got here this 4 files. Right. These are the different files which I have created for explaining the concept to you. So these files are there, and I want to tell this software, this R, that this is my working directory. So I will say here set WD. So now you can see here set WD here is set, and if I want to know what is my working directly at present, so I can use the command here get WD, and you can see here this is the same directory which I have set here, right. So that is pretty simple, but these are the very important jobs which we have to do, right. Now after this I take up the issue that how to read comma separated value file. So in order to read a CSV file and to import it inside the R software, the command here is read.csv, read.csv, and then within parenthesis inside double quotes you have to give the name of the file. Right. Such data files may have different options. They may have headers, they may not have headers, and other options also. So more details you can find from the help, but here I would be more interested in informing you that if the file has a header, then how are you going to read it, and what will happen if you don't give this option. So if the data file does not have any header in the first row, then we use the command read.csv, then you have to give the name of the file within the double quotes as file name.csv, and then I have to write here header is equal to false. False is a logical operator, it is a reserved word, it is written in the uppercase alphabets. And if the data file has a header, then I would use the same command and I will give the option here header is equal to true. So this is how I will try to import the CSV file in the data. So I can show you here I have created a very small file so that I can explain you easily. So I have given this file a name example1 csv.csv, right. So the example1 means this is the first example and it is a CSV data file. So I have given you here the screenshot. It is a very simple file in which I have given the header as a name, city, age, and then salary. So the name are AA, BB, CC, DD, EE, and the cities are Kanpur, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata. And their ages, some data on age. It is given at the interval of 5, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And the salary is given in 1000, like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So I have just taken this data so that you can easily understand it. Right, the real data will be something else. So now if you, and yeah, I can show you this data over here that how it looks like. So you can see here, this is my here file example1 CSV, and if I try to open it here, it will look like actually this, right. So now you can have confidence that this is the screenshot of the same file. So now what I do, I try to read this file here using the command read.csv, and within double quotes inside the parenthesis I give the name of the file example1 csv.csv, and because here in the first row there is a header, so I am using here the command header is equal to true, and I try to save this data in an R object whose name I have given as data CSV. So it is easy to remember for you. So if you try to do it, first I can show you here on the screenshot, then I will show you on the R console. So if I try to use this command, your data comes here like this. Name, city, age, in years, salary, in thousands. So you can see here there are some changes. Now the first row is read as a header, and then the data is starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whereas if you try to see in the file, the row number 1 has a header, right. Number 2, you can see here the presence of these actually dots. These dots are trying to replace the blank spaces, so you could not get worried about them, right. And these are the same values which you have given in the file actually, right. So now before I go further, I want to show you here that if you don't give this option header is equal to true. So now I try to use here the option header is equal to false. So now what will happen, you can see here that when you use header is equal to true, then the first row was considered as header. But when you are trying to give here header is equal to false, then you can see here the first row is considered here as the data value, right. And it has given some other names like as V1, V2, V3, V4 to 4 columns. So this is the reason why we have to specify whether the option for header is equal to true or header is equal to false, this is correct or not. Right. So let me try to first try to read this data and try to show you here. Right. So if you try to see here, I have read this data, and if I try to recall this data, it will come out to be here like this one. So this is the same data which I shown you, and if I try to make here header is equal to here false, so you can see here that data CSV is now like this one. V1, V2, V3, V4 they have become, and the first row has been read as a data value. Right. So this is important. Now let me try to remove this option and try to see what happens. I'm just trying to remove this option header, and let me try to see what is the default. So now if you try to see, the default here is header is equal to true. Right. So which is actually obvious. Usually in the data file there is a header. So that is why header equal to true is taken as. Now if you try to see, there are sometimes file in which the CSV file in which the data has been separated by some delimiters. Right. So in order to understand this thing, when we want to give this command to R, so that R can understand that the data is separated by some separator, we have to use the command here SEP, S-E-P. And now there can be different types of separation. There can be tab, which is delimiting the data. There can be space, or there can be something else. Right. So if the data is delimited by tab, then we have to use the option SEP is equal to within double quotes \t. So the command will remain the same, read.csv, file name.csv, but this separator will be added here. And similarly, if the separator is some blank space like as here, then I have to simply use here separate SEP is equal to within double quotes, I have to just give only a blank space, and it is mentioned here. So this way you can read the files over here without any problem. The second issue which comes here, that many times when we are reading a file which has different columns in which different data sets are contained, if we want to call a particular column to extract a particular set of data. For example, if in this case, suppose if you try to see here, I have here different columns, names, city, age, salary, etc. And suppose if I want to extract the data only of this column, then how to do it? So the command here is that we have to give here the object name. Object name is the name by which we have stored the data. For example, here we have used the data CSV in the earlier case, and then I have to use here a $sign. And after that, I have to give here the name of the variable on which I want to extract the data. So if you want to extract any particular column for the data, then the first thing is this: you need to know the names of that data set. Right. For that, the command here is names, N-A-M-E-S, and within the parenthesis, the name of the object data CSV. Why this is important? This is important because if you try to see in your Excel file here, you have given the data only as a name, city, age, salary, etc. But in the R software, the blank spaces were replaced by a dot. So now it is like R has given all the columns a new name. And when you want to call a column in the R software, then you have to give the same name which R has given. So my suggestion is that first you try to use the command names over the data CSV. So you will get here, these are the names, name, city, and this age and salary, etc. They are written in like this. Now suppose if you want to extract the data on, say, a name. So my suggestion is that you simply copy the entire name, right, and you paste it here. So this name should actually be exactly matching. So then you will see here that the data comes out to be AA, double B, double C, double D, double L, double E. Now if you want to get the data on the salary, so now the name of the salary here is like this. You can see here. salary in 1000.INR. So there is a chance that if you try to type this statement as a name here, then you may make a mistake. So better is to just copy it and then paste it here with data CSV dollar, and you will get here all these values. You can see here without any problem, you will get these things, and you can see here this is the screenshot of the same operation, right? So yeah, before going into the R console, let me try to give you one more option here, that now you can see here that it is now a little bit difficult to remember these new names, and you want to make it more simple. So that means you want to rename the column. So in order to rename the column, the rule is very simple. You again have to use the command here, names, and then the data object in which you want to change the name. And using the command C, you have to give the data vector here, where you have to give the names of the columns which you want to now give as a new names. So, and these names, since they are alphabet, they are characters, so they have to be given inside the double quotes. So now you can see here I have given the new names here as the names, cities, ages, salaries, right? So if you try to do it on the R console, it will look like this. First I can explain you, then I will show you. The original data set has the data names as name, city, age, in years, etc., like this one. But now you use here the command data CSV, and if you rename them, now you can see here the new names have come up here: names, cities, ages, salaries, right? So before going into the these details, let me try to show you it on the R console also, right? So you can see here now your data CSV is here like this, right? And if you want to know here the names of this data CSV, it is here like this. And now you want to data on any value, so data CSV dollar. And now I will say simply, suppose I want to get the data on age, so I will simply copy this name and I will paste it here. So you can see here, you get here the same data 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and so on. And similarly, if you want to get the data on the city, then I would say data CSV dollar city. You can see here, this is the data. So you can see here all the data which is in character format is given in the double quotes, and the numerical data is given only as a numbers, right? And in case if you want to change here the name, so I can just give it here say here a new name, and now you will see here these names are actually changed, right? So if you try to see here now this data CSV, here the names are given here like this, and now the names are given here like this. So you can see that it's not a very difficult operation, but it is very useful to us, right? So after this, I come to another option, that how are you going to read tabular data file, that is the .txt file. So in the tabular data files, it has a very simple format that each of the line contain one record, and within each record, the fields or the items are separated by one character delimiter, and this delimiter can be tab, can be space, colon, comma, or say any other symbol. And each record contains the same number of fields. So in this type of data set, if you want to import it to R software, then the command is read.table. So you can simply use here this command read.table, and within double quote inside the parenthesis, you state the name of the file, right? So for example, in this case also it may happen that the file has a header or file does not have a header. So in the case, as I told you, you have to use the same command here also. If there is no header, then you use the command header is equal to false, and if there is a header, you use the command header is equal to true, and rest of the command read.table, etc., that will remain the same. And similarly, from here also, if you want to extract the information or the data on any particular variable, the rule will remain the same, that you have to write the object name, then dollar, and then the name of the variable, right? So this actually rule will be there in almost all the files which we are going to consider here. So, right, so just to give you an example here, I have created one more file, example2 txt.txt, and it is located in the same directory. I will show you, and it looks like here this one. Right. So if you try to read this file, then I will use the command here read.table, and then within the parenthesis I will use the name of the file example2txt.txt. And now because here there is a header here, I know, so I am writing here header is equal to true. So you can see here the same file is read over here, but once again the names which are given here like this, they are actually changed, and the names here are in a different structure. The blank spaces have been replaced by some dots, right? And similarly, in say one more file, what I have done, I have given here a separator. So I have intentionally given here a separator as a star. So you can see here every space is being replaced by here a star, and every data is separated by a star symbol. So I try to use, and the data is the same. I try to use the same command here read.table and example2 sep, that means the separator I want to illustrate here txt.txt, and header is equal to true, and sep is equal to within double quotes say star. So this is my here file, and you can see here that when I try to read it on the R console, it comes out to be here like this. So you can see here it is possible to get this data very easily in the R software also, and without any problem. So first I can show you that here that these are my here example2 sep.txt and example2 txt, and if you try to open it, you can see here this is the file example2 sep where the spaces have been replaced by star, and example2.txt. I can increase the font size, so you can see here this is the same file which I shown you. Right. Anyway, we are not going to read this file from here, but then we have to use it directly from the from this R console. So I try to create here this data object data txt. So you can see here this is data txt, and if you remove here this header is equal to true and replace it by header is equal to false, then you can see here this data txt is changed. The names have been given some fresh name v1, v2, v3, v4, and the first row is read as a data, right? And similarly here also, if you want to know the names of the variable here, so if you try to see in this file, in this new file data txt, you will see the names are something like v1, v2, v3, v4. But if you try to use it as say header is equal to true, then if you try to read here the names, then it will come out to be names, city, etc. So this is what you have to be careful. And in this case also, if you want to say this retrieve any data, say for example, if you want to retrieve the data on age, then again you have to do the same thing, write the name of the object data txt and separated by $sign and name of the variable like this one, and you will get here the same data which is here 20, 25 and so on, right? So you can see that it's not a very difficult thing. And similarly, if you want to read here this file where the data is being separated by star, so you can see here this is again here like this, and I can say here data txt sep. You can see here this data has been here read like this, all right? And if you want to know its names so that you can extract any information from here, so you have to use the names and variable name like this one here. So you can see here it's not a very difficult thing to read the data in the R console actually, and at least in the case of CSV and TXT file, which are one of the most popular structures, the data can be imported to the R software very easily. But the important point is this: you can see that the structure of the data is getting changed. For example, the first row which was as a header, this is also changed. The name which you had given have been assigned in a different format. So this is the point where you have to be more careful actually. So I stop here, but my request to you will be that you please try to take a data set. Better is to create yourself. so that you can remember and you can see that whatever you created is actually true. Try to play with a small data set. I agree, in the data science, the size of the data is very huge. But my objective here is that you have to be confident that when you are trying to read the data is read correctly. So that is why I have taken an example here where I have taken only 5 data sets, which are easy to verify. If I take a data set of 1000, it will be read, but it will be very difficult for you to understand whether the data has been read correctly or not. So that is why my request to you will be, you try to create your own data. Be confident and then try to take a bigger data set and try to see whether the R is able to read the same data set. Once you are confident, then you will also be confident for the bigger data set. And then try to extract the name, and once you have got the name, then you can, if you know this R, then you know that there are different say command like mean, variance, etc. You can operate over those variables. So this will give you an idea that if you want to find out the arithmetic mean of a particular column of the data, just by extracting this data without disturbing the original data set, you can operate the statistical function on it. And that is the reason I am trying to explain you these things over here, because we are going to use it later. So you try to practice it, and I will see you in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye.